On today's live daily news, a fire on the north side, a well-known thief is going to prison, and the director at the San Angelo Museum of Fine Arts has been canned. Plus, Fort Concho's Bob Bluthardt comes on the show to tell you everything going on at the fort this month. All this plus more. I'm Matt Trammell, and this is Live. But before we get into the news, this show is brought to you by Hartman Roofing. At Hartman Roofing, the proof is in the roof. From residential houses to commercial buildings, Hartman Roofing is the roofer you can trust to do it right the first time. To get a quote today, call Hartman Roofing at 325-653-2888. And now on to the news. We start the show today with news coming out of North San Angelo. At around 3 o'clock today, San Angelo Fire Department was called to the intersection of Howard and Field Street for the report of a structure fire. Once our reporters got on scene, they discovered that a house on the block was fully engulfed in flames and smoke was everywhere. Luckily, there were no injuries reported in this fire, but the damages look pretty severe. We're unknown. The source of the fire right now is unknown, but of course, if we find out, we'll let you know. Also today, the San Angelo Fire Department was busy cleaning up an oil spill at the intersection of 7th and Bryant. At around 11:30 this morning, the San Angelo Fire Department were called to 7th and Bryant right there underneath the Houston Hart Expressway as a pallet of oil had fell out of the back of a truck. The crews had to bring extensive amounts of that oil absorbent to the scene and clean it up rather quickly. They were out of there by 12:30. But of course, if you were driving around that area, you might have noticed that they were down to one lane, and that may have slowed down your lunchtime break. But regardless, the mess was cleaned up by 12:30, and there were no other crashes or anything reported in the incident. In crime news today, a well-known San Angelo thief is finally going to prison. That's right. If you know this man on your screen, then you likely know him as Dalian Holt, or the guy that broke into your car. Dalian Holt has been found guilty of countless thefts, including unauthorized use, 2 counts of unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, more than 3 or 4 burglary thefts, burglary to a habitation, evading arrest, and also theft of a firearm. That's right. This guy has been busy throughout the past couple of years. He's only 21, but now he will spend the next 8 years in prison, and on top of that, we'll have to pay more than $17,000 in restitution. In other news, the San Angelo Museum of Fine Arts has canned their director. That's right. After only a year there, Alex Freeman has been fired from the San Angelo Museum of Fine Arts. Some were saying online that it's toxic masculinity, while he says that's not really the case. Either way, they have replaced their director at the museum. For more on this story, of course, check it out on sanangelolive.com. And moving into weather outside right now, it's a brisk 99 degrees. That's right, not exactly in the 100-degree range, but that could change as we keep moving down the week. On Friday, when we're looking at Friday Night Football, expect highs to be in the 90s, but by the time kickoff starts, we could be in the 80s. But then once the sun goes down, expect those to definitely cool off, maybe even getting into the 70s range. Of course, there's no rain in the forecast for the next 7 days, but tune into the Live Daily News Show every weekday for your weather update. And finally, the Wall Hawks are going to take on the Cisco Lobos this Friday night, and Ryan Chadwick went out to Wall to catch up with head coach Houston Guy before the big matchup. But before we get to that, here's a quick message from the Bass Bunch.
At Jim Bass Nissan, you have choices, and any way you go, you're going to save in a big way. You can choose from a new 2023 Nissan Armada SV or a new 2023 Nissan Titan Pro 4X Crew Cab and save $9,000 off MSRP. The choice is yours, but remember, the savings won't last long. Hurry into Jim Bass Nissan, corner of Houston Hart and Arden Road, or shop 24/7 at bassbunch.com.
The Wall Hawks football team plays its first away matchup this Friday against the Cisco Lobos. After the Hawks defeated Eastland 35-10 in Week 1, head coach Houston Guy says the Hawks still have a lot of work to do despite the win. We met up with Coach Guy after practice on Wednesday to discuss what he expects from his ball club headed into a tough matchup on the road against Cisco. Let's take a look. Joining me is head coach of the Wall Hawks, Houston Guy, after practice here on a Wednesday. Coach, how are we feeling today?
We're feeling pretty good. We had a real good, crisp practice today. Kids got through both offensive and defensive segments, looking really good. So we finished today on a high note.
Of course, had a big win over Eastland in your opening week, 135-10. Coach, how comforting is that, knowing that you can come in, take care of business, and move on to the next opponent like that?
It was good to get that first win. You always want to, especially at home, you want to get that first win under your belt. We would like to have played a little bit better. There's things that when we left and when we got off the field, man, there's a lot of things that we can clean up to play a little bit better. But I thought our kids played hard. Hats off to Eastland. I thought their kids played hard. I think their kids played, probably as hard as those guys could have. They stayed in the ball game for a long time. But hats off to them and their coaching staff. But I felt like our kids did some really good things. But there's lots of things that we can clean up.
Of course, yeah. It was a close game at halftime, and then, of course, you pulled away in the second half. What specifically did you see that you were like, we got to do better?
We turned the ball over too many times. We had too many turnovers, and that's one of those things where some of it's mental, some of it's just taking care of the football. Some of it is they were hitting us pretty good, but and again, that goes back to just the mental phase of the game. I think that we got to understand that it's football, and they are going to start striking us, and we got to be mindful of that and take care of that football in those situations. And that's the biggest part. That was one of the things I was most disappointed in, was our turnovers, and so we definitely got to fix that by Cisco this week.
And of course, Coach, we also going to talk about the positives now. What did you see from your team that you were like, I like this, I want this again?
I thought they flew to the football defensively. I thought we played really good defense. I thought offensive line-wise, we did a really good job of owning the line of scrimmage. I thought our perimeter blocking was really good. I thought we threw the ball around really as good as we have in a long time. I think we threw some really good deep balls. I was proud of the way Gunner, he got us out of some bad situations, and it's one of those things where I think the more the season goes on, the more he's going to grow up, and so I think we'll see some, a lot of good things from Gunner for the next, foreseeable weeks.
Basically going to be running the spread by week 10?
No.
I'm kidding, Coach. All right, of course, now we're moving on into Cisco now. First away game of the season. What do you expect out of Cisco this week?
Cisco's, they're traditionally a power football house. They're going to run the ball. They're going to play great defense. And they still do that. They graduated a lot of kids off their team last year. They were a very good football team. I knew that they were going to be a little bit down, but they played Clyde really good. They're a very physical team. Clyde beat them by 12, but they moved the ball really well on Clyde, better than I was hoping they would, and they really hung with Clyde. And Clyde's a very good football team, so I was hoping to see them not as good as they were last week, but they're a very physical football team, and they just tradition-wise, they're going to play hard, and so it's a team that you can't take lightly. You got to go over there, and they haven't lost very many games on their home field. I bet they lost 3 or 4 games in 5 or 6 years on their home field. So you better go over there ready to play. They're not going to just give you a game, especially in Cisco. So you better strap your helmet up and be ready to play.
And Coach, what is one thing that your team can do going into Friday that may not ensure the win, but will give you a very good chance of claiming that second victory?
We got to be the absolute most physical football team on the field. We got to take it to them, and both sides of the football. We've got to absolutely take care of the football and own the trenches, and that's where we got to start.
Is there any particular player that fans out there just need to watch out for this week? I know your offensive line is playing well. Any guys on that line you want to shout out?
We got a bunch of them. We got a kid playing right guard and right tackle. We got 2 kids. Lee Brake and a Pritz. Both those are guys. And then we got a left tackle named Aldridge, and those guys are playing really good. Braden's playing good at left guard, and a little bitty center that's playing really good. They're doing really, really good. We just want to keep getting better each week.
And then final question here, Coach. When we travel to Cisco, is there something like some game day ritual or you do to help keep the guys focused, or is it just the message, just go out there and do your jobs? Like what do you think?
It really is. Just get out there, do your job. Be relentless on offense, be relentless on defense, fly to the football, and be the most aggressive team we can be, and really that's it.
All right. Well, thanks, Coach. Thanks for this. Again, this has been Walls head coach Houston Guy out here after practice ahead of the Week 2 matchup versus Cisco. Thank you.
Guy seemed happy with his defense in Week 1, but expects more from his offense in Cisco this weekend. The Hawks travel to Cisco on Friday to take on the Lobos at 7 p.m. Come out and support the Hawks. And of course, for more sports around the Concho Valley and beyond, be sure to check in every day at sanangelolive.com/sports.
Who decides where you get your hair cut? You do. An oil change? You do. How about an MRI? That's right, you do. And it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Get a doctor's orders. Tell your doctor you want to go to Angelo MRI. Let us do the rest. We call you to schedule an appointment, we call your insurance, and we send the results to your doctor. You need a doctor's orders, but a doctor can't order you where to go. It's your health, your choice, your MRI.
And welcome back to the show. Joining me this afternoon is Bob Bluthardt with Fort Concho. Bob, welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon to you.
And let's see, lots of stuff going on over at the fort. What's coming up this weekend? This is
well, we're open, and
Labor Day
that
weekend.
doesn't sound like a lot of news, but on Labor Day, most people take labor off. We labor, so we will be open. We're open all weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Okay.
So if you have guests from out of town and you just got to kind of push them off for a couple of hours and need a little rest, we can easily take care of guests for a couple of hours. So we'll be open 9 to 5 Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
1 to 5 on Sunday. On most days we'll have 10 to 11 buildings open, lots of exhibits and a cute gift shop, and some of the buildings have air-conditioned comforts, so that's a good thing. So come by and see us. We try to be in the tourism business virtually every day of the year except Christmas, New Year's, and Thanksgiving, so come on by and see us.
And let's see, the speaker series is still going on.
A tradition that will kick in September. First, all the W's, who, what, where, when, how, and why. It is on Wednesdays.
Okay.
It is 12 to 1. At the commissary building, we'll have some signs up. And our favorite word, it's free. You can bring your lunch or just eat later, but you're welcome to bring your lunch. We'll have bottled water available for anybody. And the topics are all on local history and area history. Now, let's see if I can get them all straight without even looking down at the floor at my notes. On the 6th, we will have Linda Bonds talking about Arthur Stillwell and the Dream of Steam.
Okay.
And that you got to go to an event that's got a title like that.
That's right. It's too good.
Too good. There were 2 railroads that came into San Angelo. The first, of course, in 1888, that put the town on the map and forced them to close the fort. And the second was the 1909 railroad that came in. And this was part of a nationwide plan to hook up all of Texas and the southwest of Mexico. And Arthur Stillwell was the guy behind it.
Right.
So you'll hear all about that. And then on the 13th, Joyce Gray is going to speak on the eclipse and an area rancher. They're not related. It's just 2 different topics. And then on the 20th, we have a fellow, Hugh Edmondson, who's a spur expert.
Okay.
Not the ball team in San Antonio, but the things Cowboys put on your boots. And if you have spurs and you want to know, gee, are these worth anything, or should I be impressed or not, he'll take a look at them and give you some advice. Nothing is for sale, but it's all for look-see, and he'll talk about spurs and how to evaluate them. And that's the 20th. And then on the 27th, Tom Ashmore, who's a great local historian, will speak on the Concho Mail Station, which is a pending historic site on the city line just south of us where the thruway crosses the river. There's a multi-acre site there that back in the 1870s, that's where your mail came into to San Angelo. It was a stage stop. It's kind of unrecognizable, needless to say, today. Overgrown with weeds. He's gotten some people to treat it, And we're working on a long-range plan with him and others to turn it into some kind of a hiking, biking, well, probably less biking, walking trail. So he'll talk all about that. So all good topics.
Okay. So is that out toward like Ben Ficklin, that direction?
It's across the way. If you're going on 277, 87 South, when you cross the Concho, I think there's a motel on one corner and one on the other. On the left would be if you headed south. On the left would be the Concho Mail Station, and on the right would be the Ben Ficklin cemetery site.
Okay.
They were sort of related and in the same general neighborhood. Of course, the Great Flood of 1882 wiped Ben Ficklin off the map, and that's how San Angelo got the county seat.
That's how we got there. Okay. Also coming up is October, and that means Halloween. So,
yeah, we're going to do all sorts of scary stuff. Now, I can't remember all the dates, so you just have to go to the website or the Facebook page.
There you go.
But I can certainly quote the events, and we have 3 different ones this year. If you like to be scared, if you like to really be scared, if you sort of like to be scared but want to be educated, we've got something for everybody. So it's like the low, middle, and high plan on your health insurance. We have the murder mystery, which will run on 2 nights in October.
Okay.
And that's where it's based on like the board game Clue. You get some clues.
Right.
You come in and you walk around and see various people in period dress and uniform, and they talk, and you figure out who murdered whom.
Okay.
No, we've already got the murder suspect figured out, so no bribes, please. We can't take any real ones. Then we have the haunted house.
Okay.
And the haunted house will be, I believe, in the Quartermaster building, and it will be a true haunted house where you go in and in your case, it wouldn't help to turn your hair grayer, but we'll scare you up a little.
Okay.
And then the third is called our night tours, and that's a little more academic. We run tours of various parts of the fort and reference real stories of scary stuff, death and ghosts and things. So we've got something for everybody, and they're all a charged event. They're all fundraisers for us, but they're relatively reasonably priced. And I think at least on 2 of them there's snacks. So cool.
Well, there you go. The National Historic Landmark, Fort Concho, is an integral part of the city and its history, and keeping.
We were kind of here first. And you can. It's an interesting point that there were groups and individuals who came through hundreds of years before Fort Concho.
Oh, yeah.
But it was the first permanent settlement.
Right.
And the whole reason gets down to something very simple, and it's water.
Absolutely.
It was water then, it's water now, and it'll be water down the road.
That's why we're all here.
That's it. No water, no civilization.
Yep.
I mean, the Humano Indians, the Comanches, the Apaches, the explorers, the trappers, the folks going west, missionaries, the Spaniards, all came through. But it was only the Army, because it had to, it wasn't their choice, said, oh, this is a lush garden spot. Well, it had water.
It had water, yeah.
It was more drinkable than maybe even some parts, but that's why they put the fort there, and then the rest, as they say, is history.
Fantastic, Bob. Lots of stuff going on out at the fort. Make sure you check out the Fort Concho Facebook page and website.
Everything's up there, and you'll have all the dates and things that I simply just can't remember all the time.
All right. And with that, thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
And we'll see you again soon.
We'll be here.
All right. Back to you guys.
Gross. Right now, get 15% off carpet cleaning from Carpet Tech. Ew, that's so gross. Right now, get 15% off carpet cleaning from Carpet Tech.
And that's it. The live daily news show is done for the week, but make sure you come back tomorrow night for all the Cover 1 football action, where we'll get games from Central, Wall, Cristoval, Lakeview, all the big teams here at San Angelo and the Concho Valley. For everybody here at the live daily news, I'm Matt Trammell. We'll see you guys tomorrow.